to welcome you today to lectures on urban health problems and opportunities for urbanization research. We are gathered here at the Faculty of Medicine Vajira Hospital in Bangkok, which strives to be a leading center for medical practices, teaching and research to discuss the pressing health challenges facing our cities. Our audience today comprises of physicians, nurses, and public health researchers, all dedicated to improve health of urban populations in Thailand and beyond. Now it's an honor to introduce our speaker, a little bit of his background. Professor Gregory Robson. Professor Robson holds multiple senior appointments at Rutgers University in New Jersey. He is the board governor's distinguished service professor at Rutgers, New Brunswick, and distinguished professor of plant biology. And he's internationally recognized for his expertise in environmental and occupational health. As an applied exposure scientist and toxicologist, his research focuses on environmental health exposures to agricultural chemicals and other toxic agents, as well as their effects on public health, particularly among farmers and rural communities in developing countries, including Thailand. His work on pesticide risk assessment has had a profound global impact, as his findings have led to policy changes worldwide aimed at promoting safer pesticide use. He has authored over 170 peer-reviewed papers and is editor-in-chief of journal Human and Ecological Risk Assessments. Professor Robson's connections to Thailand run deep. For a decade, he has collaborated with Thai scientists in academia and government on health and environmental research. He has been a visiting professor at several universities in Thailand and in Southeast Asia, and he has taught an Asian Development Bank sponsored environmental management course at Chulalongkorn University for over 20 years. Through NIH faculty-funded programs, he established a long-term training center in environmental and occupational health at Chulalongkorn's College of Public Health Science, and later co-led a faculty GAEO Health Hub with Mahidol University. These programs train dozens of Thai MPH and PhD students. Under his guidance, in recognitions of his scientific and educational contributions to Thailand, Professor Robson received an honorary doctorate from Chulalongkorn University in 2010, conferred by HRH President Yusothon, and was honored with Friends of Thai Science Award in 2024. Beyond Thailand, Professor Robson's impact is truly global. He has worked on environmental and occupational health projects in many lower and middle income countries across Asia, Africa, and Latin America. In his leadership roles at Rutgers, he has been a strong advocate for interdisciplinary graduate education in global health and environmental science. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my privilege to welcome the esteemed Dean of Faculty of Medicine, Vajira Hospital Assistant Professor Urbanization to introduce our distinguished guests. Please join me in giving him a warm round of applause.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests and participants. Welcome to special session on urban health problems and opportunities for urbanization research. On the theme urban health problems in research, my name is Dr. Jakarup, Dean of Faculty of Medicine, Vajira Hospital. We are honored to have you here today. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to distinguished Professor Dr. Gregory Robson. He is the Dean of the School of Graduate Studies at Rutgers University, distinguished Professor of Global Environmental Health, Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, and visiting Professor and Senior Advisor of Faculty of Medicine, Vajira Hospital also. He is give a keynote address today on urban health problems and opportunities for urbanization research. Let's welcome Ajahn Mark. I now officially declare this special session open. Please.
Start over here and then move around a little bit. So I'm so happy to be here with you today. Thank you for inviting me, Ajahn, and to my Thai son, Jasada, Chanpum Jai Tidayu Tini. I'm so proud to be here. Ninoy Thai, sometimes people come up and say, Ajahn, might I Thai? And I'm ready to say yes and answer in Thai. And Ajahn Wadasit, who co-advised Jasada with me, in perfect English, Wadasit will say, no, Dr. Robson doesn't speak Thai. I said, I thought I did. So Ninoy. But it's so good to be with you today and have a chance to talk a little bit as our colleague introduced the topic about urban health. And so here's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to look at some challenges about urban health in general. We're going to look at where Thailand fits in with these challenges. What are the big risks? And with risk also, what's the current status? And then finally, some good news. I always tell my graduate students when they come to see me, they go, oh, Dr. Robson, I have a big problem. I go, okay, but maybe some good news. You had a good lunch, you saw a good movie, you have a new friend, some good news. And then finally, we do some questions, and then I have a chance. Ajahn Jasada said that we'll have a chance to hear you present some of your work. And so this is our plan. And urban health is complicated. And it's especially complicated in a place like the Kingdom of Thailand. It's especially complicated in Bangkok because, we have 10 million people. We have some of the most beautiful, spectacular buildings and skyscrapers that are here in our city, and we have some housing that's pretty stressed, okay? We have the world's worst traffic, all right? I have more than one time. This picture I took just last night I changed the talk this morning. Okay, this is many people's definition of what it's like to travel in Bangkok, but we know that's not true. And many Farang think it's this style, and that's not true either. It's a spectacular opportunity. Thai government has gotten smarter now. Now they tell us where the problem is, okay, and where to stop and get petrol. So they use electronic information. But when you step back and look at an urban space like Bangkok, you see the beauty of the history of the Thai culture and Thai citizens, and you see the marvels of the new kinds of growth. So, the story about urban health in a city like Bangkok has got challenges, it's got opportunities, and it's got promises. And for all of you that are students, it's the promises part, okay? For John and me, we are senior faculty. We have already done this. But we have new lecturers and graduate students. This is your chance. This is how you grow. This is exciting. So as Ajahn said when he introduced me, I have been coming to Thailand a long time. Many of you were not born. Now, unfortunately, I still struggle with Thai language, but I'm doing better, okay? So let's talk about urban health in general before we talk specifically about here in the kingdom. Urban health in general is reflected by the urban population. And just look at what's happened from 1950s, that's when Ajahn was born, to going forward to 2050. I will not be here for this, okay? But you can see the trend. More and more of the population around the globe, not just in Thailand, but more of the population is moving urban. But what's interesting is the biggest area with urban population growth is here in Asia. Okay, so that's a challenge for you. That's also an opportunity for you. Sometimes students say, what should I learn to study? What should I focus on? I always tell them public health is a good thing, okay? Because it's a growing field. When I was a graduate student, we still had big program in bacteriology. And I think, probably when you did medical school, did you even study bacteriology? No. Yeah, so John, you and I, we learned about bacteriology. Now, nobody cares. Nobody cares. So you have to pick something that's going to be current and exciting and interesting. Public health, urban public health is one of those areas. So that's exciting. So all over the globe, whether you're in Africa, look, Africa population and urban double. Okay, Asia, it's just been growing steadily, but Africa, it's double. So, this is a hot topic that Jasada asked me to talk about. So, what are some of the bad things about urbanization? Well, first of all, you put more people in one space, crowded space. whether it's Mexico City, whether it's Bangkok, whether it's Delhi, India, whether it's Los Angeles, California in US. So we have big population increase, and they have to live somewhere. So you have housing problem, okay? Meaning you have overcrowding. When people move into urban areas, some people come for big jobs, you know. Seattle, everybody worked for Microsoft. They have big jobs, big salary. But that pushes out other people who have to move from their modest place to even poorer home. You have slums. In a big urban center like Bangkok or Delhi or you know, Moscow or any big urban space, we have challenge with the water system and sanitation because these cities aren't built for all these people. You have to adapt it, okay? And when you have people in close quarters, we learned this through COVID, you know, you spread disease, all right? Traffic, Bangkok, they are synonyms. Same word can mean both, okay? And with that, unfortunately, and Bangkok's been pretty lucky, but in many places, more and more crime. So at least we don't have that particular problem. It's so bad here. So this is an interesting paper, and this paper published in Environmental Health in 2016, and they talk about how do you tackle this? So you have to have a goal, okay? The goal is healthy, sustainable cities. So while Jasada asked me to talk about urban health, he also asked me to talk about opportunities. So we're going to bring it back to a healthy, sustainable city, because you're going to hear in a few slides that Thai people should be very proud. Thailand has done a good job in attacking some of these challenges. And I give a lot of the credit to former King Rama IX. You know, some of you are a little bit young, but when I came to Thailand as a young scientist, I was always impressed to read about what His Majesty made priority: irrigation, sustainability, rural people, projects that the king brought to his people to support. And I think you should be proud as Thai person to know that that long history's been here, okay? So, you know, this is kind of the roadmap to try to get to a healthy, sustainable city. And what happens when you do that? Well, you know, we're going to work in reverse. You decrease mortality and you decrease morbidity, because urban health problems with so many people, you just have lots more competition. You have lots of NCDs. We were talking a little bit earlier about, you know, when studying in London about, you know, what some of the health issues are that we see. And unfortunately, as things improve in developing countries, okay, you see NCDs, okay, before not so much. You know, all around the globe. By the way, am I talking too fast? It's okay? Yeah? Thai people are always too polite. Everybody says yes. So once in a while, I'll talk real fast in a place, and then I'll say, tell me what I said. So I won't do that to you today, but I know that you all, but you know, Americans, we speak very quickly, you know. So it's a challenge sometimes. So, you know, we have NCD problem. In 1900, in US, in Europe, in Asia, most people die of infectious disease. That's why bacteriology was important, mycology important. In 2025, people die from what? NCDs, right? People, boy, okay, one, you know. So, but in 1900, cholera, typhus, I mean, people had other diseases. So we have more cancers, okay? Now we have one cancer that is infectious disease cancer. Who remembers the only cancer that is infectious disease cancer? Which one? No, my. That's NCD. Which one is infectious cancer? Human papillomavirus. Very good. Keng Ma. Yes, very good. So all other cancers are NCD, but only one that is infectious is HPV, human papillomavirus, cervical cancer. Everything else is NCD. It's lifestyle. Okay? And lifestyle, you know, people sometimes say, okay, well, lifestyle cancer, you know, you have to be rich. Or, you know, I love this term. I didn't know this term. My graduate students teach me. They said, bougie. I said, what is bougie? I said, oh, bougie. I said, no, I don't know bougie. And so they said, you know, wealthy, fancy, exciting. But, you know, but you don't have to be bougie to have NCD. Poor people have poor diet. They get overweight. Wealthy people eat too many calories, they get overweight. So, it's not always how much money, it's how you live. So NCDs, non-communicable diseases, are often dictated by lifestyle, or we call them lifestyle diseases. Okay, CVD, cardiovascular disease, respiratory disease, and we'll talk a little bit about some of these in a minute. Okay, so if you work in reverse, how do you attack these diseases? Since they are not infectious diseases, the doctor doesn't look at you and say, okay, you have the flu, do this. Or you have this infection, I give you antibiotic. No, it's over here, it's environmental causes, air pollution. You, as one woman, one man, can't fix air pollution. You, as a Thai society, can fix air pollution, okay? How do you do it? You take public transit, okay? BTS, smartest thing Thai government ever did. MRT, second good idea, okay? Dangerous green bus, kind of good idea if you feel brave, okay? Electric tuk-tuk, not as much fun. Part of the fun of the tuk-tuk is, that's exciting. When you get in the tuk-tuk and hear, no sound, this is no fun for Farang, okay? Stress, you live it with all these other people. So we do things, right? We walk, we cycle, we think about how we behave ourselves, okay? And finally, for urban, people try to design a city for better, green spaces. I was always impressed over at Chula. Chula, is very wealthy and has all the good real estate, including Paragon and MBK. But in some places, they took down buildings and built some parks. I think they had to do that to make the government happy. But it was a good thing to have some green space for people to relax a little bit, okay? So let's look particularly here at home. Let's look in our kingdom of Thailand with what we can do. When it comes to health, Thai people get good grades. People look at Thailand as a model for, the ability for people to get access to health care. So you should be very proud as a Thai person that Thailand, and several of you are physicians, you say, well, it's advertised as a little bit better than reality. But for a person like me, it's very, very different. I have to look at the number so I tell you the right number. But, in my home country, we spend, I wrote this down so I can tell you, we spend $13,400 US per person on healthcare per year. And not everybody have good healthcare. Thai people spend $364 and have better healthcare. Think about that, okay? So, that's a good thing. Everybody has a chance at something. Obviously, you go to a private hospital, you have, more, you come to this beautiful facility, you have well-trained physicians and nurses, you have good. But if you're out in the rural and somewhere in Rangsit, if you need to get immunized, you still get to see doctor, nurse, or dentist, okay? So Thai people have a good plan. And, part of it is the healthcare system, the part that you participate in. So John and I were talking a little bit about his experience in London as public health student. First trained as physician, one person, one patient. Now public health person, one person, whole nation, okay? He had one patient at a time, now he has 70 million at a time. So he'll be much busier young doctor, okay? But when you look at studies done by, in this case, the Cardiovascular Intervention Association of Thailand, the cardiologists, and ask the heart doctors here in the kingdom, what's cooking? They'll tell you urbanization, the topic that Jasada chose, lack of exercise, increased obesity rates, lack of awareness. I think that's what's really interesting too. When you talk to people and you ask them about public health problem, they don't understand it. Or more importantly, you ask them and they get their information, everything off the internet. And whether it's Thai student or American student, they do the same thing. I require, whoops. I need to get a bigger seat. I require my students to write a paper, and I look at the references, and I look sometimes to read the paper and go, where did you come up with this? And they go, oh, Dr. Robson, it was on the internet. You go, really? You believe everything on the internet? You believe things like, Martians come from, outer space and land in New Jersey. You believe that, woman has 9 children at one time. I mean, that's on the internet. I said, no, you can't believe it. You have to fact truth things. People have a lack of awareness about urban health. One thing that Thai people are fortunate on, and many U.S. not so much, is availability of fresh food. Okay, you can walk up and down the street and buy supper on the way home. Somebody make it for you, you can buy what you need, you go home make. United States, we have food desert. In the city, Jasada has visited Rutgers. In the city where my university is, medical school, nursing school, 2 good hospitals, agriculture school, no grocery store. Think about that. Medical school, nursing school, 2 hospitals, ag school, no place to buy groceries. No big grocery store. Move out because urban space, all right? And of course, if you don't have healthy groceries, you eat bad food, right? Okay? So what's the good news? We can't use pointer because it's digital, so I would use finger. Look at how exciting it is. Thai people, less than 40 years life expectancy in the 1940s. In 2025, it's like 75 now for male, 80 for female. Boys, why do men die before women? What is cause? Why do the girls live longer than the boys? Why do the men live shorter time than the women? It's their behavior, exactly. Men take strange risk, women smarter. So ladies, a little practical for you who are single, a little dating advice. So up here in this part of his head is not finished yet, okay? For girls, at 18, all done. The reason part of the brain, that's why girls make good decisions, not so much you. Boys don't do that, okay? So if you see poor behavior but you like him, give him time. It's like, cake in the oven, need to bake longer. But at 25, it's finished. If they still act silly at 25, find a boy. But girls, it's all done at 18. So men typically make more risky behavior. You're going to see that for a minute when I show you some smoking statistics. But Thai people living longer, that's a good thing, okay? But this picture taken at Health Promotion Hospital outside of Bangkok in Lumloka, okay? This is a dramatic number for Thai people. And it's interesting, America much worse. So Thai people should feel bad, but Americans should feel worse. So Thai people, about 9% of Thai people are considered to be obese. In US, it's 42%. 9% Thai, not good. Your neighbors, Vietnam, 0.5. Less than 0.5% Vietnam people, okay? Thai people, 9. Not good. U.S., when you come to U.S., everybody, pum pui, all right? So, Rural Health Promotion Hospital launch a campaign for people. It's a good thing. So NCDs, going back to our comment before, NCDs give us lots of statistics. Thailand still struggles with some infectious disease, particularly malaria and tuberculosis, okay? But for NCDs, other big thing is something like traffic accident, okay? But in general, the numbers have improved. Infant mortality, much better now, much lower, okay? But when you look at life loss now in Thailand, more than half come from NCD, all right? But this is that number I showed you before. This number projects the obesity rate out to be closer to 12%, but the statistic I checked this morning, Ministry of Health says it's 9, so we can pick one or the other. Anyway, it's not good, okay? And in 1975, it was about 1%. So why do you think this has happened for Thai people? Same answer for US, but you are Thai people, and I pretend to be a Thai person. What happened? My Dayen, what happened? Someone say, don't be shy. Yeah, carb, but what kind of food? Aha, exactly. That's the right answer. You become farang, exactly. All right? So, that's one of the challenges here is that when they look at National Health Survey, we look at what does Thai people do now? Junk food, okay? Unhealthy sandwiches, sedentary lifestyle, switch to bad food. These are the reason we have that. And here you go. First McDonald's opened in Thailand in March 1985. Some of you not born. But now there are, I just checked the number on marketing site, there are 245 McDonald's now in the Kingdom of Thailand, okay? And they want to open more, okay? But they went ahead, 23 February 1985, first McDonald, and it was over in central Chidlom, historic place, okay? So that's kind of interesting. So Starbucks, McDonald's are here, and because they're here, it's very dangerous. Right now there are 500 Starbucks and McDonald's. First Starbucks and McDonald's opened in 1998, all right? And now the goal is in a few years to have 800. So it's fun to pretend Western style, but it's not good. All right. So but we're a hospital that does health promotion. So let's talk about good stuff now. Bad news. No one wants bad news. I become a dean. When you become deans and administrators, we want somebody to come and tell us good news. I need more money. My experiment didn't work. The building is on fire. I don't like my secretary. No, I don't want to hear that. My. I want good news. So I give you some good news about Thai people for urban risk. Thai people now are making healthy choices. So health promotion programs in some places must be working. You ask people, what are the most important factors? And a lot of people say it's the nutritional quality of the food. That's their number one and number two choice. You have to be practical, You also say, great taste. That's why people eat. You don't say, I want to eat this because it doesn't taste, right? You want something, when you finish, you look and go, aroy mak, right? You want something that tastes good. So good taste is also part of it. I always laugh about, years ago I had a project in Accra, Ghana, West Africa, and they talk about high rate of STI and HIV AIDS in particular. And so one program was to say to young people, Africa population quite young, and it's, it's developing country, and so they study kids 14 to 30, and they say, okay, how to reduce, we're going to have HIV AIDS reduction. What is number one strategy? Not have sex. Really? You tell 14 to 30-year-old not to have sex? You have poster, boy and girl holding hands? No. I mean, it works, right? When those of you that are physicians say, what is number one way to avoid STI? Abstinence. But it's like this. Number one thing is to make healthy choice. Number two is it tastes great. People are going to have certain behaviors. So to say no sex is not a smart campaign for not having unwanted pregnancy or STI reduction, all right? But here, the other thing that's important is, the food has to be easily available. That's a good thing for Thai people, that it is for the most part. And of course, that it doesn't require a lot of ingredients. So it's good news for Thai. Now the bad news. Where do Thai people, like American people, like English people, like, everybody, where do you get your information from? Some from television. Why is this on television? To sell, okay? I mean, when I was young, they don't see, but you and I remember smoking advertisements. Everybody who was smoking was a beautiful woman, handsome man. They never had an ugly person smoking a cigarette. It was always, a movie star woman or a very handsome man, and then people say, wow, I want to smoke too because I want to be handsome or I want to be beautiful. It doesn't work that way. So people from television program, access on the internet. Internet is so exciting for our information. But, somebody has to check it for true, okay? And then you see things. I think you should feel good as health scientists. Doctors and nurses, about 50%. That's good, okay? So, you know what a SIG file is. When I send you an email, on the bottom it says Mark Robson, Dean of Graduate School, and telephone number, blah, 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 blah. So I have a physician friend, and in her SIG file, She has, her name, Dr. Rosa Kopalakia, MD, MPH, and what department she's in. And then it says in sentence, your Google search is not substitution for my medical degree, because people go on Google and they diagnose themselves. You ever try to figure out what your health problem is on Google? You ever check? Admit it, you all do. Sometimes when I travel to a foreign country and I don't feel good, I go, oh, what happened? Parasite, bad food, bad water, not enough sleep. So you can Google in general symptoms. One time I was in Africa, I felt very ill. So I looked up, I put in all my symptoms, and they gave me 5 possibilities, okay? One was food poisoning, which sadly was the right answer. Number 5, I was pregnant. I said, option, but not for me, okay? So internet will only give you back what you give it, all right? But the good thing is, even street food here in Thailand now, there is campaign for better street food. So, people are smart. They listen to what people say. And these are just pictures I take when I walk around Bangkok, okay? You go to places where they make a point farm to table, right? There's lots of good restaurants now that will work with the farmer, give farmer a fair price, and make it available. And this was very, very delicious, okay? So that's part of the good news. Now, let's see if I can not fall over this time. One of the things that's important, though, in urban health, so we talked about the food issue, is STDs among youth. So for a long time, we did a pretty good job training people about STDs. Now we're not doing so well. And we're especially doing badly in 15 to 24-year-olds, where people become sexually active. Thailand, big problem. Syphilis is back. Okay, in a big way. Ministry of Public Health has big campaign now to reduce syphilis. All a way it can handle is to encourage condom use, okay? You look at STIs, in general, going back to when AIDS started, Thailand took very aggressive, very positive results, were very strong, and you see the beautiful decrease in things like all of the STIs, okay? That's the good news. So Thailand gets an A for hard work. But all of a sudden, we see, particularly in the age group I highlight here, 15 to 24, numbers are back up. For most of you know in the room, but Professor and me, we watched people in 1980s and 1990s. Now we have antiretroviral, and we have ways to control people with infection. So people become a little more careless. But we watched people have wasting syndrome. We watched people with Kaposi sarcoma. Doctors were treating lots and lots of people who had full-blown AIDS. Now, you don't really see people with AIDS. I mean, people are HIV positive, and they can control it. So what does that mean? That means young people go, oh, I didn't see famous people. In the United States, many famous celebrities got sick, and you watch them die, and it's very public. Kind of sad that people can't have privacy, but if you're a celebrity, is what happened. Now people become, the English word, complacent. So they have to work harder at that. The US CDC, working with the Thai MOPH, has worked real hard to get antiretroviral drugs out for people and to make sure that that's available, okay? So Thailand making progress there. Particularly increase in HIV infection in young men who have sex with men. So if you are doing urban health program and you say, okay, general number, not too bad, but particular age group, young men who have sex with men, is big problem. Oh, look, where is the biggest problem? This is prevalence rate, not absolute. So prevalence rate much higher here in Bangkok and then the Northeastern. So that's where you target intervention. Data drives your decision. You are public health people. You are health scientists. You have data. You want to address where the problem is. So, you say, okay, well, maybe in urban, it's only slightly higher than rural. That's interesting, isn't it? The prevalence rate in general isn't too different between urban and rural. In my mind, before I looked up this data for today's talk, I would have said, if you asked me in the hallway, Ajahn, do you think it would be a lot higher in urban? I say, oh, probably many times more. But that's why you have to look up for the numbers. You look up the numbers and go, oh, no, it's almost the same. 3.7, 3.1, same. But where we see difference is different parts of the country. We see same in the United States. The last two little parts of this, then we're going to hear from all of you, is other, because Jasada wanted comprehensive talk, so we talk about two more things that are challenged for urban, for both knowing the problem and then coming up with solutions. Is climate change, okay? We live here in this beautiful city of 10 million citizens. We have some of the most beautiful architecture, spectacular temples, really exciting new buildings with all sorts of technology in them. But, we also have to think about going forward climate change. And we look in this is just generic picture of urban heat island, and you say, well, okay, that's just generic picture, but I look outside my window from Padawan Princess Hotel over at Chula campus, and we have urban heat island, okay? If you stand under the trees on the campus and you take out your iPhone with the temperature is 10 degrees, well, I still do Fahrenheit, you do Celsius. For Ajahn, it's 10 degrees Fahrenheit cooler under the trees than it is out in the sun. So we got this. Urban heat islands affect you as health scientists because of health effects. When it gets real hot, you have more visits to the emergency room. When it gets real hot, for whatever reason, you have more traffic accidents. When it gets real hot, you have women that go into labor prematurely. You wouldn't think that those things impact from heat stress and climate change, but it does, all right? If you are trying to control mosquito loves hot spots, okay? They thrive. Now, obviously, it's warmer here than at home for me, but the idea is that it's part of the challenge, okay? So, it affects people's sleeping, it affects their commuting time, their physical and mental well-being. So as public health people, we have to look at both the socioeconomic characteristics, urban environment, and of course, people's health behavior. We encourage older people to be active. The population in Thailand continues to get older. It's not quite as extreme as Japan, but there are more elderly people now in the Kingdom of Thailand than there was before, and many of them live in urban spaces. When it's too hot, old people don't go out, decreases their mobility and physical activity. All those things factor in. So you see some really exciting documents that come out of the big universities and the big NGOs in Thailand. You should be very proud as a Thai person that some really exciting initiatives, and this was a really interesting report. I'll give Jasada the PDF, you can Google this, Shaping a Cooler Bangkok, steps you can take to lessen the heat effects here in the kingdom. And just some of the things that have come out that I think are kind of exciting, looking at this big national communication program that we have. What is the public health aspect? Well, if we don't address climate change, we're going to have more infectious disease. If we don't address climate change, it's going to put stress on the beautiful environment, the natural environment, and the historic monuments, okay? Why do people come to Thailand? Because the people are nice, the food is good, the environment is beautiful, the history and culture is spectacular. But when you have climate change and so much stress, all of that would be a challenge. For erosion and destruction of the environment, and certainly the fact Thailand has big coastline, soon everybody will be at the beach. You don't have to go to Phi Phi Island or Koh Samui or Phuket. Stay in Bangkok. The beach will come to you. It's a challenge. So when we look at this, we say, well, here's what's going to happen. We have heat and flooding and drought in different regions, but particularly here where we are in Bangkok. We look at things that are going to long-term challenge us, okay, about natural resources. And once again, we see these impacts in our big areas. But, one of the places that always scores big, of course, is in Bangkok, as well as places you don't think about with heat stress, like Khon Kaen, okay, or Ubon Ratchathani. I mean, I've been to Ubon several times, some of my Chula students on the faculty there. And until I read this report, the English part, of course, I wasn't expecting Ubon to be a place by climate change, but of course it is affecting the agriculture in particular. So the temperatures are going up in Bangkok. They're going up throughout the kingdom. If you push this out to 2070, Ajahn be dead a long time in 2070, but you'll still be here, okay? It's the temperature everywhere, but of course, since our talk is in Thailand, I use this one. We're almost done if you get bored. Oops. One of the challenges where we see only modest improvement, of course, is air pollution in urban space. Okay, the BMA tells us that most days, air quality very bad in Thailand. Used to be, you'd look at it in the morning, PM 2.5, up in the evening. Now, because it's such a busy place with traffic all the time, PM 2.5, PM 10, big. Same thing in U.S. cities, by the way. It's not unique to Thailand. There are some modest programs. The Little Grab Taxi. This was a really interesting article that was in the Bangkok Post newspaper. Ajahn can read the English language newspaper. And, they give the workers, the little motorcycle taxis, respirator, okay? This is even before COVID, they pushed this. So, you try to come up with solutions for these urban problems because there are so many days where exceed. And you think about the policeman or the motorcycle taxi. You and I are Ajahn or a student. We are here inside, aircon, healthy environment, very sterile environment. That man that's out there that waved you into the parking lot, he has different associated risk. So there's lots of documents. They're free, most of them, especially WHO and UN documents. If this is something that interests you, you want to develop thesis, and I will tell Ajahn Jasada, always happy to participate on someone's research for free. Ajahn, come for free, so not a problem. WHO and other places have really interesting. Here's the things you got to tackle. Encourage people to be active. I think it's really interesting when I walk on Chula campus now, early in the morning, there's exercise space. If I say to you, you should exercise more. You should belong to the gym. And you go, John, gym costs too much. No exercise equipment. I say, oh, okay. So now you put exercise equipment out for free. Now you don't have excuse. Now you must exercise. I think it's exciting in the morning to watch old people out there doing all sorts of things. I used to think when I was your age, look at those old people. Now Ajahn is an old person. Now I go, oh, look at those old people. It's good. You have to stay active, okay? But you have to give people the opportunity to do that. You just can't say good idea. So you have the opportunity to do good things. Jasada leads a group of very bright young scientists here at this beautiful facility to do things like this, which make me so proud of him. And as Thai person, you should look at this. Look at how good this is. #1 score for all of Asian countries, Thailand. #6 in the world for healthcare system. You should be proud, okay? If you look at this, you look at for the world, okay? Do you see where I live? You look, you say, where is U.S.? Not on the top 10, not on the top 20, okay? We do a lousy job. You do a good job, okay? This is, you just can't say, oh man, we got air pollution, we don't have enough. No, you have to say, we have a plan for the 70 million people in Thailand, especially this unit for the 10 million people in Bangkok. So you can see, world ranked Thailand, #6. Next closest, very far away, 24, Singapore, okay? In Singapore, I don't know about you, Singapore, cleanest place I ever visit, because they arrest you if you throw down anything. So, maybe that's why it's good. So, best healthcare system in places. Thailand has several places on the top list, okay? You don't see one single U.S. city on this list, all right? The trends are good. Under 5 mortality, we're going to end with only good news, okay? Remember I told you as dean, I like good news. I tell people you can have appointment, but you must, I look at the watch, last 5 minutes must be good news. Even if you just tell me that your kid is doing well in 2nd grade, I want something good news, not just complain, all right? Even during the economic crisis in 1997, So probably most of you were not born in 1997. So not that you buy anything in dollars, but what's the exchange rate for farang right now? US to Thai dollar, what's the exchange rate, do you think? It's 32 Thai baht to 1 US dollar. Ajahn know that because he bought himself new glasses. And too much money, by the way, 32,000 baht, but I felt good, so I buy. Do you know, in 1997, Ajahn remember Thai exchange rate 57 baht to 1 US. Now for farang, woohoo, good shopping. For Thai people, disaster. So much stress on Thai economy, but Thai fix. But even during very difficult time for Thai people, still infant mortality rate because the commitment of Thai health scientists. Again, you should be proud. So, the health promotion hospitals, this is a magnificent facility here with great scientists. But, like everything else, you have to take it out into the community. So this is out in Lumbuka. And, the clinic is addressing things, okay? Even, there of the 70 million people in Thailand, there's 5 million migrant people working. And Thai government got smart and said, you know what? These are Burmese babies. Burmese migrant, mama have the baby. They give mama prenatal, postnatal care, and baby getting vaccination. Because when this little girl, even though she is not Thai citizen, when she's vaccinated and healthy, then Thai kids are healthy. So again, Thailand take the right approach to this. I just want to show you a few pictures of my students, and then we do your questions. So these are my Rutgers students. I'm so proud of this system and so happy to have come to this country for so long that I bring American students to learn just for a couple of weeks to learn about Thai healthcare system. So these are my students. They will become doctors and nurses. And so they do, with the health promotion hospital, they go out and do some of the clinics, especially in the schools for vitals. And of course, the kids are very intrigued. She's very suspicious. But usually the kids are very intrigued to see farang. And of course, the kids are so beautiful, it all works out well. Are you healthy? Also, in rural people, still traditional King Rama IV style, it's kind of fun. Thailand has managed the STI pretty good, except for we talk about that one group. Thailand doing a little bit better with smoking. I was intrigued, and so Thai people are a little less smokers. So China, number one. China, for male, 44.4% of Chinese men smokers. Almost half. For men. Women, less than 2%, like 1.5%. US, 23%. Everybody, 29 for male, 17 for women. Not so good. Thai does pretty good. 35% is male, only 1.3% women. Remember, girls, I told you, smarter. Okay? So Thai making progress that way. I talked about the expenditures before when I started. Expenditures going up. And when you interview people in a poll, this was over 1,000 people asked by the Logic Group here in Thailand. 1,000 Thai people respond. 88% of Thai people trying to improve their current state of health and to prevent bad things going forward. I think this is pretty exciting, okay? How do we get there? We get there with people like you, the students that are learning here, the faculty that are training you, the vision that you have. This is a pathway, okay? You gotta help policymakers. People get elected to parliament, they rely on you to tell what to do. Sometimes they do bad decisions. Right now in the US, many bad decisions. But every 4 years we have a chance to change. Teach urban people how to lead, come up with good tools for assessment, make a map. So you've been very patient and very kind. I will take some questions. I appreciate that. So we take a couple questions, and then Jasada told me that you're going to tell me about what you're doing, which is much more interesting. So John, how you want to do this? Give the microphone to students.
So now we have the ex-master degree student to share and to talk some parts of the research. ติมมามีพูดไหมหรือว่าอาจารย์มี some question ไหมครับมีไหมอาจารย์มีคำถามสิแชร์อะไรไหมอาจารย์ ไม่มีอาจารย์มีไหม So for our student so the one student that had a focus on the MSN that they just focus on the some things or the someone that focus on the PF ไม่ใช่อะไรนะชื่ออะไรนะเบิร์ดคิงไหนแชร์หน่อยสิไอเอฟก็ได้ใครจะแชร์ก่อนหรืออาจารย์มีอะไรถามอาจารย์แชร์ไหมครับมีไหมใครพร้อมก่อนแชร์รีเสิร์ชตัวเองก็ได้นิดนึงเอาไหมเอาบอกว่าโฟกัสตอนนี้ทำอะไรกลุ่มตัวอย่างเราเป็นกลุ่มไหนกันก็ได้อ่านตามไปเล่นตัว discussion ก็ได้นะหรือพาร์ทที่มันเป็น abstract ก็ได้ so now for our master student they prepare the thesis defense already and then they would like to share some research and to talk yeah okay เอาใครก่อนดีหัวหน้าไปไหนแล้วหัวหน้าไปเปิดเล่มเหรออ่านอะไรนะ FL ก่อนให้ F ก่อนไม่อ่านโอเคไปทำอะไรยังไงได้
Okay, Dr. Robson, I have one question. That's in Thailand. Okay, good afternoon. My name is Salawut Nasawan. Yes, I am the graduated student in the urban disease control. Yeah. So I have one question. Just Dr. Robson, in Thailand, the primary responsibility for HIV prevention and control has likely been shouldered by the NGO or CSO. That with the significant usage support, but now the Trump policy, he reduced the budget and the fund for usage, such as usage for HIV in Thailand now. I have one question about considering the vulnerability about the long-term sustainability for the program to prevention or reduce the HIV or AIDS or other STD disease in the MSM in the sex worker in Thailand. Do you believe that there are the challenge or the opportunity about the fund reduction? Thank you.
Well, thank you for a good description and good question. And of course, we all know that in every model that we look at, what's the best way to control a problem? Prevent it. Okay? If you prevent it, you don't have a problem. And so as a health scientist from America, I am physically sad, honestly, very sad, about the fact that all these programs that teach people how to be safe, give people antiretroviral, give them PrEP, whatever politician, whatever their mindset, they always support prevention programs, okay? And the United States, we call this, even educate, so Ajahn Wadasit, Ajahn Dasada, they all train under the program at Chula. It was NIH funding that helped support the program that they got their doctoral work in. We call that soft diplomacy. What's the best way to make a friend? Give them a meal, invite them to your home, exchange ideas, teach, share those things. How do you do that? You do that with collaboration and a little bit of prevention. They say, people that are economists, that there is $7, I have to always give you US because my math is bad for bot. So 7 to 1. For every dollar you spend on prevention program and intervention program, you save 7. Okay, what a good deal, right? I mean, if you went to Central World for sale and they say, okay, you spend $1, get $7 shirt, good deal. So it's amazing to me that the United States, wealthiest country in the world, would not continue this. Now, the problem too, as you know this, is if you make bad decision or bad purchase, right now making very bad decisions, I cut all this out. You can't cut everything out. USAID program, gone. Took the sign off the building. It was very symbolic. I mean, bad people are in U.S. government now. Remove the sign. That was more a symbol than anything else. And so you destroy it, you lay off people. How do you restart? So even in 4 years, hopefully different president, and maybe a new person, he or she come in to be better, you just can't fix. You have to start again. So your question was about sustainability. No, our system not sustainable now. The people that are trained in their roles in Africa and Asia, even in U.S., they have no job no more, all right? They have to do something else. They find new job, maybe very different. You can't start over. It's not like light, turn on the light, turn off the light. You've destroyed the capacity, infrastructure. Why do you go to graduate school? You go to graduate school to learn more, to have skill set. We always say in the U.S., have toolbox, okay? We were talking before the thing. Now he has new toolbox, okay, with public health, because he's trained as a clinician, physician. Now he's also a public health scientist. His toolbox is heavier, it's bigger, but he's better doctor now because of that. So this abrupt, it wasn't gradual either. That one, on January 20, new people come in. January 21, agencies closed. Obviously, we use the word political agenda in place. So all these programs for prep program, for education program, you have to train people. Think about countries, Thailand is an interesting place. For me, fascinating. Have been coming long time, and obviously enjoy. This, by the way, trip 85. Ajahn come 85 times to Thailand on the plane. So long. But it's all good once I get here. The deal is that, the current political agenda, we won't recover. Okay, America will lose its friends and its influence. Why U.S. and Thai strong partner, ally during, military crisis, big military base during Vietnam War, Bangkok, okay? Rama IX, born in U.S. There's several statues of Prince Mahidol. Where did Prince Mahidol go to school? Harvard in U.S., okay? Long relationship. When you cut out the aid and stop sending scientists, when Ajahn introduced me, he talked about GeoHealth Hub, something I'm very proud of. GeoHealth Hub grant, we train 46 Thai students for MPH and PhD. Ajahn Jasada under ITRIO program, that was older program. He only looks like he is young, but he is. Well, you were on ITRIO too, right? Yeah, Parachart on ITRIO too. So it's just tragic, and it's not sustainable. It's like you ever have a fight with your friend, and you get angry, and you say something really angry, I hate you, or something really terrible, and then later on you go, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. And your friend go, no, you meant it, Once it comes out, you can't put it back. And you can say, I'm sorry 5,000 times. Damage. When you cut out a program that's been in place, USAID program since 1962, okay? Train people. Now, also think about the good things. Thailand, it doesn't necessarily have the same impact because Thai society, pretty gender balanced. But think about programs in places where women have no rights, okay? In some countries, when I go talk, I won't tell you which ones, but some countries, I only see male. I won't see young women students and scientists, young women doctors, or you see women doctors in maybe the hospital to treat women patients because of, tradition, religious tradition. But most of the girls don't get education. Why don't some societies educate girl? Because educated girl becomes educated woman who makes change and influence, okay? Smart woman trains her daughters to be smart women too. If you don't want smart women and change, you don't educate the girls, you don't educate the boys. So many USAID programs also educate girls because local government won't. So it's not good. And I have no answer. I like to say my old mentor was famous physician, Dr. Bernard Goldstein, and he's 86 now, still alive, still healthy too. And he said, you know, I was born in the 1940s after they discovered antibiotics, and I will die before we run out of oil, because we'll run out of oil soon too, you know, not right away, but soon. And so, you know, I at 70 will not see back to normal. You have to be you. So I feel bad the United States loses leadership role. I'm not making political statement, but I will make observation. Okay, good public health people, we train to observe, right? So first thing I did when I always come in a room, you know, what is the age of the audience? Very young. How many women, how many men? About 50-50 male, female. Makes me feel good as father of daughter. You know, how do you look at me, and some of you pay attention, some of you, that's okay, I do that too. You know, so we learn as public health people to be observer. I have a big project in West Africa, in Liberia. All of a sudden, you know, African people, easy to see, they're African people. All of a sudden, many Chinese people. China, very big now in supporting African countries because, you know, there's not a lot of resources in China. They grow rice in West Africa, send by boat back to China because they have 1.4 billion citizens. Had USAID project in El Salvador, that's Central America country. Look around. I go to the market on Saturday to just take pictures of the food and maybe get coffee. There's Salvadoran people, a few old white guys, and many Chinese people. Everywhere you go. So China looks and says, U.S. is stupid. Opportunity to provide foreign aid. You go into laboratories in some countries, used to be from Germany, from U.S., now all the equipment donate from China. Okay, so these young scientists, you know, this week, Harvard University, our most prestigious university, cannot take international students. Presidents say no. So where do they go? They go to Europe, they go to Russia, they go to China. You know, 20 years from now, the landscape for health science, for education, for engineering, for economics will be very different. So it makes me very sad. But no, you ask good question. Ajahn has terrible answer. But thank you for the question. Anybody else have question? Yes, Ajahn Jasada, you have question. Looking low, looking, he is recruiting. And you know, you can also just tell me what you think. Go ahead, I don't bite, it's okay.
นี่ครับ Dr. Mano Badi, my name is Shuripon Simong. I am MUDC student. ได้ไหมครับ ผมอยากจะถามเกี่ยวกับปัจจุบันโรคติดต่อนะครับก็ยังสำคัญในพื้นที่เขตเมืองนะครับในช่วงที่ผ่านมาเช่นสถานการณ์โควิดนะครับก็มีการจัดการที่ค่อนข้างยากในเขตเมืองนะครับก็อยากจะสอบถามทางด้านอาจารย์นะครับในฟิลการทำงานของอาจารย์หรือว่าในประเทศของอาจารย์นะครับมีการจัดการที่ยังไงบ้างในพื้นที่เขตเมืองที่ให้ง่ายต่อการควบคุมดูแล
So his question is about like infectious disease, like however still like in the urban areas, while prevalence are more leaning towards like degenerative diseases, NCDs, but infectious disease still prevalence as well, like in Bangkok, like in COVID-19 situation, there's a lot of bad like management around this like infectious disease outbreak, and he was wondering whether or not in the US or different cities, how do they manage the infectious disease better?
That's a very good question, and we did a very bad job, same as other places. We did not do a good job. American people did not want to wear a mask, okay? And that was so it was a sign of I think American people didn't understand infectious disease spread, okay? So people say, you know, you have to get vaccinated, and a lot of people are anti-vax. The new Secretary of Health is anti-vaxxer. He's also an idiot. He's a moron, but he's the Secretary of Health. So, you know, my Lou. The challenge is that we didn't do a good job. And then, you know, sometimes people say things. One of the most famous things, this is interesting. So they had one where, I don't know you would see it here, but they had a movie, and they would take a picture, and there's a little movie of somebody sneeze. So they say, okay, you must be 2 meters apart in the queue for the grocery, for the transit, you know. And so somebody say, well, why 2 meters? Why not 3 meters? So they say, they don't know. I mean, so you say 2 meters, they say why, and then a couple got why, and they say they don't know. Then they had a movie about aerosol dispersion, and you sneeze, and they gave the person green dye, and then they use special camera, and they show the aerosol dispersion from sneeze, and they say this is how COVID spreads. And then somebody who was engineer does it and said, no, COVID virus doesn't spread that way. All of a sudden, CDC stopped the movie because it's not true. So we didn't do a good job. I think what most people in the world realize was that COVID is now like influenza. We're going to have it. We're going to have COVID season like we have flu season. We have big influenza right now in Thai, right? Right now, COVID up again, you know? And I think we're going to have that. But I think now we understand that it's going to be manageable. Vaccine helps, not completely, but helps. Common sense, wash your hands. One of the best things, wash your hands, okay? Be polite, don't sneeze on people. Wash the surface. And know you're going to have it and be honest about it. I think one of the weird things in the U.S., you know, you watch people and they sneeze. And I think it's just disgusting. People, they're all ready to sneeze. So John is old style, so always carry, sneeze. This is okay. But you see people go, no, it's disgusting. You know, and by the way, it doesn't stop. So your good question, what's going to happen? The only thing that we know for sure is that who is more at risk? There are certain risk groups with COVID, right? One is elderly. So John have to pay much more attention than you. One is people who smoke. You know, if you look at Italy, I don't know if any of you go to Italy. Did you get to go to the continent while you're there? Okay, Italy, wonderful place. John's favorite place. No bad food. No bad wine. No ugly people. Everybody, so why? All the food, delicious. But Italian people, big smokers. Even though they live 8 years longer than Americans, because their diet is good, so, you know, there's trade-off. Their diet is good, they live longer, and smoking, you know, even if you are 3-pack-a-day smoker, only 10% lung cancer. Not everybody who smokes dies. In fact, 90% of people who smoke never develop lung cancer. Interesting, okay? But smoking, big comorbidity for COVID. All of a sudden, huge numbers of older people in Italy died. Their COVID rates same as US. But the confounder, the exacerbator, the comorbidity, smoking, they died. On the other side, kids, you know, when you do normal distribution of a disease, right? You have 5% tail here, older people. You have 5% tail here, kids. And the COVID is the old people much higher. Kids, mine, very little. You know, kid who have immune deficiency or something, but not healthy kid, not going to show the same as older person. So I think what's interesting in COVID, we learned a couple things. Tell the truth. You know, if you keep saying, oh, this is going to kill you, that's going to kill you. You know, Ajahn, I stayed healthy. I got vaccinated each time, okay? Stay healthy. My daughter, 30, at the time 32, same age as Ajahn, she got COVID vaccine 3 times and had COVID 3 times. She was young and healthy. Very sick, one time very sick. Ajahn, no. Palaya, no, we don't get sick. So I think that with COVID, tell the truth, practical comments, and don't try to say certain things are going to, you know, 3 feet, 9 feet, 1 meter, 2 meter, 3 meter. Really? Doesn't make any difference. Don't smoke, wash your hands, wear a mask if you feel sick that you don't sneeze on somebody else. You know, the mask that you wear doesn't protect you. I'm happy you have masks. I appreciate it. I like to see your beautiful faces. And I have a mask in my pocket for later, but I know you want to see my smile. But your mask protects me, right? In case you sneeze or cough or something, you know. Interesting. Anybody, a Vietnam student, or everybody Thai person here today? Anybody Vietnam? So, you know, initially, other thing, when I say tell truth, tell the truth. Initially, Vietnam, WHO, many praise on the website, in the press release, Vietnam has done an outstanding job on COVID intervention and prevention. They go, oh, Gang Ma, good job, Vietnam. Then somebody do audit? No, they lie. COVID rate's the same. They just make the statement, oh, we did a good job, you know? No, you didn't. You lied. I don't know if you pay much attention to your neighbors in North Korea. They frighten John very much. South Korea, beautiful country, beautiful people. North Korea, bad place. They say their prevention program, if somebody has COVID, they shoot them. That is Kim Jong-il. The leaders say, we shoot them. Now, interesting prevention program. Saves a lot of time on clinical work. Bang, you have COVID. What if the test is false positive? Well, bang, you're still dead. I think that, you know, for COVID, we just have to realize it's going to happen every year now. We're going to have COVID season. Some people will get sicker than others. You know, some people will not do well. Some people will have long COVID. And I think we have to accept it just like they did the flu. Have any of you, as public health people, study the famous Spanish flu? Did you study that when you took epidemiology? So Spanish flu is interesting. U.S. had very bad flu in the soldiers, and so did Germany. Spanish people know, but the U.S. called it Spanish flu so that the press wouldn't think U.S. had a crisis with their soldiers. Spain didn't have the flu. It was marketing. And, you know, the Spanish flu, the numbers, they had 3 waves if you look at the disease pattern, and then ever since then, they still have, you know. So we're going to have COVID. I think we have to accept it. We have to be better prepared now, though. You have to have prophylaxis for people that get sick. You should have testing. You should have masks for people. And then if you really do have COVID, you stay home. You don't go to work and make your coworker sick, you know. But I think Thai did as good as anybody did. Think about the fact we haven't figured out how COVID got here. You know, some people say, oh, Wuhan in China. Other people say, no, that has nothing to do with it. Some people claim it was United States supported research in Wuhan where it escaped the laboratory. You know, people who have political agenda make strange statements, you know. It's like everything else, you know, practical stuff. Wash your hands, keep your distance, practical sense, good ventilation. Now, in cold place, good ventilation not possible, you know. If you only go to hospital if you're sick, not sick, don't go to a hospital, you know. So, anybody else have a question or a comment? I would like comment, so I could ask you comment too, you know. In fact, I might do that to make you nervous. So, as my students, when I get up out of the chair in the classroom in New Jersey, go, oh, here he comes. So, what do you study for a master's degree? No, you, don't look him, don't, you, tell me about you.
My name is Jakit Pankawa. I am a student at Urbanization Control.
And what is your research going to be about?
Research.
Don't be shy. You can tell me, don't be shy. And you're next, so get ready. Prepare. And then you're next, after him.
Research is
Oh, you even have the proposal. Gang, wow, look at you.
factor affecting risk non-vaccination of influenza vaccine of older adult 70 years old in Bangkok.
Same as a John, okay. And do you have some early result?
The results show that the prevalence of non-vaccination was 12.1%. Significant factor associated with not vaccination include history of cancer แล้วก็ smoking the past 6 months แล้วก็ lack of information from healthcare personnel and low level of knowledge about influenza and its vaccine.
Thank you. Thank you. Good. Okay. What do you do at the Ministry of Public Health? What is your job at MOPH?
I'm working Ministry of Public Health.
Yeah, but what do you do there?
กองโรคติดต่อทั่วไปครับ Communicable Disease Control.
Very good. Okay. Thank you, Kap. So what do you Kap?
สวัสดีครับ Okay, first of all, I would like to thank for your wonderful talk. Yeah, you are sharing open my mind some the opportunities and help women organization. Okay. Okay. Actually, I have no particular question. I just wonder.
No, I want you to tell me who you are.
Oh, sorry. My name is Taksin. I am the faculty members of university here.
And what do you do here as a faculty?
Lecturer.
Oh, and what is your area? What's your...
I am immunologist and virologist. Yeah, my research focus on viral immunologies. I'm working with the virus and how to the host respond to the virus infection. Okay. My question just wonder, I'm not sure you are from the university that focus on the urbanization research, right? I just wondering how the people from the basic science, the one who were in the wet lab, engage with the theme urbanization research, just that.
That's a good question. So the very wonderful question our friend asked is, what about basic scientists, okay, person in lab, how do they do with the urban health, okay? And so the answer is not good. I mean, just to be honest. Laboratory person, you're a laboratory person, sometimes even when you say to them, oh, I want you to teach big class. No, I have graduate student, I teach small class. I only want the smartest people understanding immunology. So I teach the largest class at my school. It's a science class for non-scientists. And but remember, I'm old. So if I am a young researcher, I have to work very hard all the time as researcher to write papers and write grants, boom, boom, boom. John is old. I can do what I want. And that's the only good thing about being old. So there are very few things good about old. But one of the best things about being old is you get half price on the train. It's very good. And the second thing good about being old is you can do what you want. So I have come up with a program and sometimes you can't get people to cooperate because you can only say please so many times or don't you want to do this? And sometimes some people no, they just no. So as dean, I can put some money on the table and say, okay, if you want to help me do this, engage, okay? I mean, think about it. You do really good research, but you never leave the lab, You stay inside. And so I don't know if any of you were raised in Christian tradition, but in Christian tradition, one of the great writers of Bible in New Testament is St. Paul. And St. Paul writes to people, I'm not real religious, but he liked this quote, don't hide your lamp under a bushel basket. Bushel basket's the big basket. And your lamp, the brightness that you show. So if you don't tell anybody, nobody knows. So the deal is that we encourage programs like that. I had a program where I put money on the table. We had basic scientists and we had community people. And one day I had a man that came to the laboratory. I used to be executive director of Health Institute. And he came, a very serious man. And he came, his community had, imagine high rates of cancer. And it was old industrial site, lots of persistent chlorinated compounds, and lots of heavy metals from industry. Arsenic, mercury, lead, cadmium, all bad, you know that. And he brought in a jar of water, and he had it in jar with jelly. Still had the label for the flavor, grape jelly, still had a little bit of jelly in the lid. And he brought it into our institute, and he handed it to the secretary, and I said, give it to the chemist. And the young chemist said, this is ridiculous. There's no protocol. It wasn't taken properly. It's not in the sanitary vial. I said, you're going to analyze the water. I said, no, I'm your boss. Shut up. You analyze. Well, I'm going to find nothing. I said, that's right. But you're going to analyze it. This man came to our university. You're going to do the sample. Well, it's going to be non-detect. I said, I don't care. But I took the idea. I said, now, you said non-detect. How could it have been better sample? Well, you take it in an amber bottle and you collect it for this many minutes and you take the temperature. I said, good. Now we're going to go back to the community. Come with me. Community meeting. We're going to go at night when people aren't working and the community participation. And Ajahn bought pizza party. Brought graduate students, brought chemists, brought community people, sat down and said, okay, how we work together. And, it's small project, but it worked. And so what did I have to do? Well, sometimes you have to say, I'm the director and you work for me, so you're going to do this. But you don't do it, you do polite. Also, you have to say, I'm going to the community, because not everybody come to university. And you also say, community, we'll help you with water sample, but I want you to know what is a good water sample. Water sample that has water and grape jelly, not a good water sample. So you have to help them. I still teach this class for science for non-scientists, music major, English major, business school, athlete. I teach it, because it's fun. It takes a long time. It's cute when you draw a structure, and very serious English major, professor, I said, yes. What is C and two lines to the O? I said, that's carbon, double bond to oxygen. What does that mean? And you have to explain, because they honestly don't know. But you can't, you're always polite, you always encourage. So we have programs, I would say, participation rate very low, not to lie. And it's expensive. And what the chancellor said to me one time is, you're a good public relations man. It looked good, because the community happy and photo office takes, tailop, you got a lot of pictures. But what's the result? How much did you prevent? I said, I don't know. I have to wait a while. So you ask a beautiful question to John, and the answer is that it's a lot of work, because everybody want to stay in their lab. You can't even get some time. Think about when you look at the whole patient, okay? When he looks at the patient as a doctor, what the first thing you say? How are you? Okay? Too wet, too fat, too thin. Hypertension, hypotension. Cataract. For women, are you careful about breast cancer? For male, prostate cancer? I mean, you have to, so what does that mean? You can be general physician, have to know everything, but when you go, so you are immunologist, okay? And maybe, excuse me, talk to pulmonologist, cardiologist, till you figure out what's wrong. So integrated approach to problem solving is difficult, and everybody wants to be specialists. When we all, as we get older, we get more and more specialized. Eventually, think about bachelor degree, a little bit about everything. Master's degree, focus. PhD, really focused. Postdoc, laser. And then you go back and say, well, I still want to be broad. So that was a beautiful question. I would say that the way I found it to work is 3 parts. Money, Money, it's interesting. When people say to you, money doesn't solve all problems. You look at them and you say, yes, it does. Okay? Seriously, when it comes to public health, you give me money, I can work on a problem. Money does not make you happy. Yes, it does. When you're a researcher, you get more students, you get more equipment, you get more everything. So you can do a lot of good things with money. And money buys participation. Money gets cooperation. Money gives you a chance to pay for the pizza for the community to come talk to you. How do you get students to come to seminar? Usually you feed them, right? Okay. What's the secret weapon in Thailand? Food. Okay. All right. What's the secret weapon in U.S.? Food. Okay. But food costs money. I think that it's really important to get people to come. Some people come for their heart. They want to do the right thing. But most people are good people. They need encouragement. So you offer them participation. I give you one last example, then I'll stop babbling. And then we have your question, then we'll see if Ajahn Desada wants to let you go. It's up to him. He is the man in charge. So when we did the project that Jasada trained under, and Wadasit and Sawani and all the other wonderful students I've had that I'm so proud of, we brought U.S. faculty. And what could I do for them? They couldn't give them honorarium. I said, I will pay your plane ticket. I put you in Padawan Princess Hotel, very nice hotel, and have saltwater pool. And you have to do something. Buy your economy ticket, no first class, economy ticket, know the rules. And you'll meet wonderful people, and you'll eat good food, and you'll be in a place that you're not familiar with. For those of you that have been to U.S., U.S. and Thailand, very, very different. Getting more similar, but, very different. And come learn about something, understand what other people do. How come Asian people have healthier lifestyle? Well, Asian diet. Well, come learn about Asian diet. Asian diet is not Chinese food in U.S. restaurant that's made by Mexican chef and served by white girl. Good Thai food is made by Thai chef that use local Thai ingredients that is healthier for you. So, you expose people, and you have, I always leave feeling, I'm so grateful when Jasada invites me to come see you because I get to meet you. And I have a proposal for you that I want to come visit you for several months when I'll be done being dean. So I'm graduate dean. I'll leave you my card. Do you want to come spend a semester with us in New Jersey? We'll help you figure it out. But when I finish be dean, I have my salary for free from university to come where I want to go, and obviously here. So you get to be last contestant in our contest. So I want you to tell me who you are and what kind of work do you do. Don't be shy.
My name is Benjamin Kahan, Public Health Prevention and Control Disease, Chonburi Province. Study research, inhalation, healthcare seeking, and self-isolation mpox disease in MSM Chonburi. I study MSM with high-risk mpox disease. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So, in her area, the other thing that's interesting is it's a difficult field because you have to ask people very personal about their life, and people always like to be personal, So I have a wonderful woman. She is a physician who got master's in public health with me in environmental, but she worked for the health department. She is very kind, very smart. And I saw her at a meeting, and her name is Dr. Barbara Montana. And I said, Barbara, how are you? And she said, oh, Dr. Robson, I have a very difficult job now. I said, really? I said, what do you do? So she is in the division of senior health. So I can say this to you as old person. You were all too young to, but someday you'll be old person too. So I said, well, what do you do? She said, I am teaching about safe sex and HIV prevention in elder people. I said, oh my, very difficult. So she goes to communities so U.S. is different style than Thai people. U.S., when you get older, maybe you move into a community with other elder people. You have condo or small apartment where somebody else mow the grass because you can, and you have reduced taxes because nobody has kids in that community. So in the U.S. education system funded by taxes from property. So I said, so what's so bad about this job? So she is a little older than you, but not old like me. So go to the senior centers and talk to old people about safe sex. And old men, so they're 70s and 80s, and now that you have Viagra and Cialis, all of a sudden they now once again become sexually active. Before Mother Nature take away that problem because the problem doesn't happen. Now with ED drugs, you can be intimate with somebody. So you have all these old people that are having active, intimate lives and not use protection because, somebody who's 80-year-old man, why would they wear a condom? Well, when they were 20 years old, they wore a condom to prevent pregnancy. When the lady that they're with is 75 or 80, no risk of pregnancy. And they don't understand or think about or care about HIV or other STIs. And so there's a big HIV rate in 70-year-old high-income people. These are people in fancy communities, retirement community, good income, often professional person, doctor, lawyer, nurse, accountant, respect, but they're HIV positive. So you with MSM, even more difficult because that's a very personal question to ask somebody, and people don't want to tell you that, and you don't blame them, so good. So Jasada, should we let our friends go now?
Yeah, I think on behalf of everyone, I think to heartfelt thank you for Professor Robson for today insightful lecture on urban health problem research. I think we are really grateful for your time and your valuable insight. It's a very eye-opening session. But before we wrap up, I think we'd love to have a capture this moment with group photo.
Always. I mean, it wouldn't be Thailand. So Thai loop.
ก็เชิญข้างหน้าเลยครับ
I love the pictures. That's my favorite part. Thank you for sitting here so patient, and for the people that volunteered, even if it wasn't true volunteer. Thank you. Volunteer or recruit, right? You recruit.